So everyone, last session of the day arrives. Last talk, in fact. So the talk will be given by GVK Teja from IISc Bengaluru. The title is one of the longest ones, two generalizations of partial sum property with two applications to weights of highest weight modules. Over to you, Teja.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to the audience for giving me opportunity to talk here, and also to the, and also everyone here who is going to listen to my talk now. In this talk, I will present two generalizations of the partial sum property, which is for the root systems of Kac-Moody algebras. These two generalizations have many applications to weights of arbitrary highest weight modules over general Kac-Moody algebras. Among them, I will present two applications. The results in this talk are from my first paper, which I can show at the end in the references. Let me begin by fixing some notation. GOTHG stands for a Kac-Moody Lie algebra or complex numbers. And I won't make any assumptions on G, such as G is indecomposable or G is symmetrizable. All the results of this talk, they hold for any general, they hold over any general Kac-Moody algebra G. EI, Fi, alpha I check, I running from 1 to n. These are the Chivali generators for G. H is the Cartan subalgebra of G. N minus and n plus, these are the negative and positive parts of G. G has triangular decomposition as given here. UG is the universal enveloping algebra of G. Delta denotes the root system of G. G has the root space decomposition as given here. By script I denote the set of nodes in the Dinkin diagram for G. For example, when G is SL3C, 3 by 3 trigonal matrices, then I choose script I to be set 1, 2. When G is affine Lie algebra SL3C hat, I choose script I to be the set 0, 1, 2. The set alpha I such that I belongs to script I. These are the simple roots in delta, which I denote by pi. And alpha I check, I belong to script I. These are the simple co-roots, which I denote by pi check. For the entire talk, I will use script I to denote the set of nodes in the Dinkin diagram for G. And also I use it as an indexing set for the set of simple roots and simple co-roots. Delta plus denotes the set of positive roots in delta. These are the roots in the set z greater than or equal to 0 pi. Here z greater than or equal to 0 means the set of non-negative integers, and z greater than or equal to 0 pi means the set of non-negative integer linear combinations of simple roots. Later in the talk, for any general set S, I use z greater than or equal to 0 pi z greater than or equal to 0 S to denote the set of non-negative integer linear combinations of elements from S. Now I recall the partial sum property, which most of us we are familiar with. It says for root system of a Kac-Moody algebra, suppose beta is a positive root, then we can write beta as an ordered sum of simple roots, such that each partial sum in that ordered sum, it is also a root. This is equivalent to saying, given a positive root beta, we can always find a simple root alpha such that beta minus alpha is also a root. Let me show this through a small example here. For the root system of SL7C, 7 by 7 raised 0 matrices, it has 6 simple roots, alpha 1, so on alpha 6, which I colored in red. And the reason I colored in red will be clear on next slide. And I 1 to 6 to denote the set of nodes in the Dinkin diagram here, and also as an indexing set for the simple roots. And Dinkin diagram is as shown here. The set of the root system delta is precisely, it can be easily observed that it is precisely the set given here. So I start with the root beta given here, the sum alpha 2 plus so on alpha 6. Then the simple root we can subtract from beta is alpha 6. And then we get, after subtraction, we get the root alpha 2 plus so on alpha 5. It is easy to see that this is a root. And from this, we can subtract the simple root alpha 5. Proceeding this way, we can write beta as an ordered sum of simple roots. The order is as follows: first alpha 2, and then alpha 3, and then alpha 4, and so on, such that each partial sum in this ordered sum, it is also a root. Now, in the next 4 slides, I will give 2 examples for the 2 generalizations. Before I go into the details, for the first generalization, I will mark only a subset of nodes or equivalently a subset of simple roots in red color. And then through an example, I am going to show that root. I will take an example of a root which involves these red colored simple roots, and then I will write it as an ordered sum of roots with unit I heads, meaning roots with unit I heads are roots which involve exactly some, it will involve some simple red colored simple root, but it will involve only one simple root from pi I. And here I am coloring the nodes 2, 3, 5 in red. Let me call this as I. And the simple roots that are colored are alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 5. And let me choose beta to be alpha 2 plus alpha 3, so on alpha 6. Note that in beta we see 3 red color simple roots, alpha 2, alpha 3, and alpha 5. And so we can write beta as a sum like this, sum of roots like this, such that it can be easily seen that each partial sum, it is sum of first of all 3 roots, and each partial sum of this ordered sum, and this is the order. First is alpha 2, second is alpha 3, alpha 3 plus alpha 4, and third is alpha 5 plus alpha 6. And each partial sum in this ordered sum, it is also a root. And moreover, each root here, they involve exactly one red colored simple root. And that is, these are roots with unit I height. Now, this example I have given for root system of SL7C. And this naturally raises the question, can this phenomenon be shown more generally for Kac-Moody algebras and Kac-Moody algebras, etc.? This example seemingly little easy. Let me give a slightly uneasy example for the roots of the same phenomenon. For the root system of type E6, and Dicke diagram is given here. And capital A, I am keeping the same, colored in red, 2, 3, 5. Simple roots are, there are 6 simple roots here. And if I choose beta to be the root given here, alpha 1 plus so on, alpha 6. And beta involves 4 red colored simple roots, 2 times it involves alpha 5. Then we can write beta as a sum of, as an ordered sum of 4 roots like this. First one is alpha 1 plus alpha 3, second one is alpha 2 plus alpha 1, so on, such that each partial sum in this sum, it is a root, and each root will involve a red colored simple root exactly once. First one involves alpha 3, second one involves alpha 2, etc. So the above 2 examples suggest, suppose I start with a non-empty subset of simple roots and take a positive root beta, which involves some simple roots from S. Then we can write beta as an ordered sum of roots, certain roots, each of which involve exactly, it will involve some simple root from S, but it will involve exactly one simple root from S. This problem is combinatorial, but I want to say 2 things here. The proofs involved in the proofs I used to prove this. There I used results from structure theory of Lie algebras, or more generally graded Lie algebras. And this property, and there is one more property, they have applications to weights of any all highest weight modules or all Kac-Moody algebras, which we will see in the talk now. These are the examples for the first generalization. Now I show the discuss about the second generalization with 2 more examples. For this, I need the usual partial order on H star, which are denoted by curly less than, under which for 2 elements xy in H star, x is below y if and only if y minus x, it is a non-negative integer linear combination of simple roots. Observe that via partial sum property, starting with a root beta, we can keep subtracting a sequence of simple roots, and finally we reach a simple root. Now, if we go 1 step forward, we reach 0. So essentially, via partial sum property, starting with a root, we are getting a chain of starting with the root beta, we are getting a chain of roots between 0 and the root we started with, beta, such that we go up along the chain each time by adding a simple root. And this phenomenon, we generalize it to move between comparable weights, comparable in the sense of partial order, comparable weights coming from the set of weights of adjoint representation or highest weight representation or more representations which we see in this talk. Let me show this through an example. Here G is SL6 6 by 6 register matrices. And let me start with two roots. The first one is alpha 2 plus alpha 3, and the second one is the sum alpha 1 plus 1 alpha 5. The second root we chose is the difference between second root and the first root. It is alpha 1 plus alpha 4 plus alpha 5, which I indicated in red. And correspondingly, we have the following chain of roots, and observe that we are going up along the chain each time by adding a red colored simple root that is occurring in the difference between the two roots we started with. Now, this example is for the adjoint representation over SL6C. So let me show the same phenomenon for an highest weight module, and I am keeping the Lie algebra same, SL6C. I need a few more notation again. Let omega 1 so on omega 5, let this be the fundamental dominant weights. And let me set lambda to be the sum of all fundamental dominant weights, which is equal to the vector rho, which is half sum of all the positive roots. For lambda in H star, let me denote by L lambda the simple highest weight module with highest weight lambda over Lie algebra SL6C. And as lambda is dominant, L lambda is also integrable. In this case, let me choose two weights. One is lambda minus alpha 2, and the second weight is here. And the difference between the first weight and the second weight, it is sum of 5 red colored simple roots, which I have marked in red. Now, correspondingly, observe that we have the following chain of weights, and here I written in reverse order, and we are coming down the chain each time by subtracting a. Now, these two examples suggest, suppose I start with a semi-simple Lie algebra G and a module V, not necessarily highest weight, and two weights mu naught strictly below weight and another weight mu. Then we can find a sequence of weights between a chain of weights between mu naught and mu, such that difference between any two successive weights in the chain, it's a simple root. Now, with these examples to provide an initial impression of the two generalizations, let me now give the outline of the talk, and then I can go into the details. Throughout the talk, I will be dealing with two settings. One is root system over Kac-Moody algebras, and the other is the set of weights of arbitrary highest weight modules over Kac-Moody algebras. And the two generalizations of the partial sum property are as follows. One in structure theory, another is in representation theory. In structure theory, it is with root system of G, and we call it as parabolic partial sum property. And the word parabolic here, it will be clear when I go to the motivation behind thinking about this property. And we are going to prove this property to the best possible extent and level of generality. That is, we are going to show it at the more generally at the level of Lie-Edwards for any Lie algebra over any field and graded over any free abelian semigroup. Freeness of abelian semigroup is important; it cannot be removed. In this sense, this is the best possible extent one can show. In the second generalization, it is in representation theory. It is for the weights of highest weight modules and some more modules, adjoint representation and some more modules, and it deals with existence of chain of weights between any two comparable weights, comparable in the sense of partial order, any two comparable weights coming from the set of weights of V. And in this talk, I am going to show this property for all simple highest weight modules and adjoint representation and any submodule of any parabolic Worma module. And the two applications of these two generations are as follows. One, we obtain a minimal description for the set of weights of every simple highest weight module over any Kac-Moody algebra. Formulas for the weights of simple highest weight modules were computed in the literature first by my guide Khare over semi-simple G, and later he extended these results to simple highest weight modules over all Kac-Moody algebras with Dhelan. And we are going to show a minimal description for the formulas that were proved by Dhelan and Khare. Second, we obtain a Minkowski difference formula that holds for any highest weight module with any highest weight and over any Kac-Moody algebra. And this would extend the known formulas for the known weight formulas for the simple modules shown by Dhelan and Khare. Now I can proceed. I'll proceed to the next section, which is dedicated for parabolic partial sum property and the minimal description for the weights of simple highest weight modules. I need a few more notation again. For a non-empty subset capital I of indexing set script I, and a vector beta summation ci alpha I, we define two functions, height and height with respect to I, where height of beta is defined as sum over all the coefficients ci, and height with respect to I of beta is defined as sum over those coefficients ci for which the coefficients coming from the subset we chose, capital I. And this number height with respect to I of beta, we call it as the I height of beta. So in the second and third examples, we had unit I height roots. Those are roots with this number equal to 1. Now, parabolic partial sum property, it started with the following question of my guide, which asks, suppose I is a non-empty subset of script I and beta is a positive root with positive I height. Then it asks, do we have positive roots with gamma to gamma n? N is the I height of beta, such that each gamma j, it has unit I height, and sum over all gamma j's, it is beta. And point C here says each partial sum in the ordered sum in point B, it is a root. In my paper, I answer this question positively for any Kac-Moody algebra. I will show this in the next theorem. And for the Kac-Moody, I am going to show this for more generally graded Lie algebras. And for Kac-Moody root systems, I will call this as parabolic partial sum property. And the theorem is as shown here. Let capital G be a Lie algebra over any field, and let pi showing up here, let it be any abstract set, not the set of simple roots here. And pi here, it freely generates the abelian semigroup z greater than or equal to 0 pi here. And script A be the set of grades in capital G. That is, capital G, we can write it as a direct sum over graded pieces G alpha, alpha coming from script A. Now, let me fix a grade beta with positive I height, where I is a non-empty subset of script I. Script I is an indexing set, is still an indexing set for pi, not the nodes in the Deakin diagram or something. Then the graded piece G beta, it is spanned by the right normal leavards as shown here. Recall we have seen right normal leavards in Venkatesh talk. The right normal leavards here, where gamma I we see here, these are grades with unit I height, and x gamma I, these are vectors in the graded piece G gamma I, and such that the sum over all gamma I, that is beta. Now we will see how this implies parabolic partial sum property. If we specialize capital G to n plus the positive part of Kac-Moody algebra G, and pi to be the set of roots, and script A to be the positive roots delta plus, set of positive roots delta plus, and the height function is the usual height function. Then sum overall, then we have gamma i's here with unit I height, fine, and their sum is beta, fine. Now one last thing we needed is each partial sum and to be a root, and that is implied by non-zeroness, existence of non-zero right normal leavards in the here it is going to be root space. In this root space G beta, there is another theorem. This is in more general setting. For the Kac-Moody setting, there is another theorem. It is slightly stronger than the implications of this, and which also implies the parabolic partial sum property. G be a Kac-Moody algebra is a non-empty subset of script I. If I take a non-zero, this says if I take a non-zero vector x in the direct sum of the root spaces with positive I height, then we can always find a negative root eta with I height -1 and a negative root vector f eta in root space G eta, such that x comma f eta is non-zero. In particular, suppose x comes from a single root space G beta with positive I height. This means beta minus eta, that is a root. Now, with this result, let me now show give the motivation behind thinking about the parabolic partial sum property. And Khare talked about this question to obtain a minimal description for the weights of simple modules, and that's how it began. I need little notation, few more notation again, and these notation will be used in the later sections also. let P denote the set of integrable weights, and P plus be the cone of dominant integral weights. In the sets here, lambda is element from H star, alpha check, these are elements from H, Cartan subalgebra H. The angle bracket lambda comma alpha check denotes evaluation of lambda at alpha check. For lambda in H star, let M lambda denote the Verma module with highest weight lambda, and L lambda denote the simple quotient of Verma module M lambda. Throughout the talk, to denote a highest weight module V with highest weight lambda, I will simply say M lambda subjects onto V, and the set weight V, let it denote the set of weights of V. One important aspect in studying the weights of highest weight module M lambda V, it is the integrability or the set of integrable directions in V, which I denote by IV. For lambda in H star, let J lambda denote the set of all nodes such that lambda evaluated at alpha J check. This is a non-negative integer, and the integrability of V IV. This is set of all nodes in J lambda such that Fj acts nilpotently on the highest weight space V lambda. For a little insight into the integrability of a highest weight module, observe that the set J lambda defined in point 1. This is equal to the integrability of the simple module L lambda with highest weight lambda. Suppose when G is SL3C and script I is 1, 2, one can easily check that the integrability of the simple module with highest weight minus omega 1, where omega 1 is the first fundamental dominant weight. This integrability of the simple module, this is precisely 2. And it can be easily verified that J lambda is also 2. Now I define parabolic Verma modules, and in the next slide I will use a few formulas for their weights, and then I can give formulas for the weights of simple highest weight modules, and finally I can give the minimal description result. These occupy the next 4 slides. For lambda in H star, let for J subset of J lambda, let Gj denote the Kac-Moody subalgebra of G generated by the vectors Chivali, some of the Chivali generators Ej, Fj, and alpha J check corresponding to capital J. Let Gj plus H, let it be the Levy subalgebra corresponding to J. Gj plus H plus N plus, let it denote the parabolic subalgebra of G corresponding to J, which I denote by Pj. Now, parabolic Verma module with highest weight lambda and integrability J, which I denote by M lambda gamma J. This is quotient of Verma module by the submodule given here. The submodule generated by vectors Fj raised to power lambda of alpha J check plus 1 acting on the highest weight vector in M lambda. Alternately, M lambda comma J can be written as a tensor product like this. It is isomorphic to a tensor product like this. It is tensor product between the universal enveloping algebra of G and the simple highest weight Gj or Pj module Lj of lambda over the universal enveloping algebra of Pj. Now, for the weights of parabolic Verma modules, let delta J denote the root system of the Kac-Moody subalgebra Gj. These are roots in the combination of simple roots from phi j. Let delta J plus denote the positive roots in delta J. Now, by the isomorphism we have here between M lambda J and the tensor product here, we have the following formula for the weights of the parabolic Verma module M lambda comma J. It is Minkowski difference between the weights of simple Gj lambda module with highest weight lambda and the cone generated by positive roots that are not in delta J. Now, there is one more sophisticated formula for the weights of parabolic Verma module. This was shown by my guide when G is for parabolic Verma modules or semi-simple G, and later with Dillon he extended this formula to parabolic Verma modules or any Kac-Moody algebra, and this formula is weights of M lambda comma J. This is disjoint union of weights of simple modules over Gj with highest weight lambda minus xi, where xi is any vector. Xi is any vector in the combination of any vector in the non-negative integer linear combination of simple roots outside pi j. Using this Minkowski decomposition for the parabolic for weights of parabolic Verma modules and the following theorem, Dillon and Khare, they obtained formulas for weights of all simple highest weight modules over all Kac-Moody algebras, and this theorem can be seen with independent interest. This says all the Highest-weight modules with a fixed Highest-weight lambda and fixed integrability J, subset of J lambda, all of them will have same set of weights if and only if either J is J lambda or J minus J lambda, it's a singleton set, or for every two nodes in the Dynkin subdiagram and J lambda minus J, we must have at least one edge. We must have at least one edge between them. So in particular, this theorem says, the first result in this theorem says, all the highest weight modules with highest weight lambda and integrability now equal to J lambda, all of them will have same set of weights. And moreover, the set of weights is the weights of the parabolic Fermat module M lambda with integrability J lambda. And this is how we get the formula for weights of simple G module with highest weight lambda. And this formula is, this is Minkowski difference between the weights of the simple module with highest weight lambda over Kac-Moody subalgebra G J lambda and the cone generated by positive roots outside delta J lambda. Here LJ lambda of lambda, it is an integrable highest weight module over G suffix J lambda, and so it is understood well. But the cone here, or rather the generating set for the cone here, it turned out to be quite big, and so we aimed at obtaining a minimal generating set for the cone here, so that we will have a minimal description for the weights of simple modules or parabolic Fermat modules. And by this theorem, and by the first result here, for the large class of highest weight modules whose weights are same as parabolic Fermat modules. And this is our objective, this is our aim, to think about parabolic partial sum property, that is obtaining a minimal generating set for the cone. And the result is as follows. For J subset of script I, let me call J complement as capital I. And for capital I, let delta, this subset delta I comma 1 of root system, let it be the set of all positive roots with unit I height. Unit I height means when we write beta as a sum of simple roots, this will involve exactly some simple root, but exactly one simple root from corresponding to I. And it can be easily seen that every root here, it is not in delta J, and therefore it is in its complement. Now look at this inclusion, and by the parabolic partial sum property, observe that any root here, first any root in the set in the left hand side, it must involve some simple, because it is not, if I take a root here, because it is not in delta J, it must involve some simple root from J complement, which is I. That means its I height is positive. Therefore, we can write it as a sum of roots with unit I height, which are here. This implies, this immediately implies this inclusion. And therefore, we have the equality of these two cones. The cone generated by delta I comma 1 on the right side, and the cone, if you remember, it appears in the weight formula for M lambda comma J. This cone and this cone, they are the same. Now, and that's what I have shown here in the as a corollary. Now, one last thing to be observed here is, this is the minimal generating set. That is, we take any root here, it will involve some simple root from pi I, and therefore, if we take a root here, it cannot be written as a combination of roots from here. In this sense, delta I comma 1, this is the minimal generating set for the cone, and so this justifies the minimal description. Also, observe that in the formula for M lambda comma J, the external rays are given by the cone here. This means we have obtained the unique minimal set of external rays given by the set generated by the set delta I comma 1 in the weights of M lambda comma J. Now this finishes the first goal. Now we go to the second generalization of existence of chain of weights between comparable weights, and this started by the following question. Suppose G is a Kac-Moody algebra and V is a highest weight module with highest weight lambda, and I start with two weights mu naught strictly below mu. Then the question is, can we find a chain of weights mu I such that fitting in this chain, and such that the difference between any two successive weights, it's a simple root. This question was answered positively when we use any integrable high-weight module, but over semi-simple Lie algebra. It is done by Shravan Kumar, and later this result was extended for any non-integrable simple high-weight modules, but again over semi-simple Lie algebras by my guide. And he extended for few more modules. And these are the results. These are the results of them: position of Kumar and theorem of my guide. Now we aim to first extend this result to more modules in the semi-simple case, and before we take to the Kac-Moody setting. That is, we will show it. I showed in my paper the same result for any integrable module, not necessarily highest weight or not necessarily having finite dimensional weight spaces, etc. We could show it for any integrable module, or more generally, we could show it for any saturated subset of the set of the lattice of weights. And the definition of saturated set is here, and this is the result which proves for saturated sets. And as one corollary, this proposition immediately implies the result of Kumar, which is for the weights of integrable highest weight modules with dominant highest weights. Now we take it to the Kac-Moody setting, and this is the theorem.
Teja, so you have couple of minutes left. Okay, so you can wind up in a couple of minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay, sir. Okay, and this is the theorem which extends this chain property to one adjoint representation, and second, more strongly, it extends to any submodule of any parabolic Fermat module, in particular for the parabolic Fermat module for their weights, and therefore for any simple highest weight module. And there is still scope for one to investigate if this can be extended for more highest weight modules, or more are there more non-highest weight modules for which this can be shown. Now, finally, I go to the second application and the last result in this talk. For this, which is about getting a Minkowski difference formula for the weights of arbitrary highest weight modules. I need one last notation here. Let me define for J subset of script I. Let me define the set weight with respect to J of V to be the set of weights in V that can be written as lambda minus combination of simple roots from pi j. Observe that weight with respect to JV, these are precisely the set of weights of the Gj submodule generated by the highest weight vector in V. And this is the theorem. And we have two results here. The first one gives the Minkowski difference formula, which holds for any highest weight module with highest weight lambda and over any general Kac-Moody algebra. And this says weight P is Minkowski difference between the weights of weight with respect to J lambda. For lambda, J lambda is unique set. Weights of J lambda, weight with respect to J lambda of V, and the cone generated by the roots, the unit J lambda complement height one roots. And to show this, and then we investigated when do weight we admit such a decomposition, such as when is it equal to a Minkowski difference like this. Minkowski difference between some for some set J weight with respect to JV and the cone generated by the set delta J complement comma 1. When we looked at when we admit such a weight, we admit such a decomposition, we had the following if and only if result. Weight we admits this decomposition if and only if this set the Minkowski difference between weight with respect to V and a smaller cone. Now here we had a bigger cone, a smaller cone now generated by simple roots outside pi j. This Minkowski difference is contained in weight V. Final one last thing before we end. Observe the similarities between the formula shown by my guide with Delan for simple highest weight modules and the formula we have in result one. These are very much the same. Modulo the small observation that weight with respect to J lambda of L lambda, it is that means when we replace V with L lambda and then we compare these two formulas. So with the small observation that weight with respect to J lambda of the simple module L lambda, this is same as weights of the Gj lambda module L J lambda with height weight lambda. Finally, since now I have to rush, let me finally give the significance of this formula. If one wants to study the weights of any highest weight module, and then we have the formula here again, which is in 1. If one wants to study this set, this cone, it is clear. It is we know it now, this cone, and it amounts to study only this set, weight with respect to J lambda of V. In other words, this problem of studying weights of arbitrary modules, it is reduced to studying the weights of highest one modules with dominant highest weights. And I can end here. Thank you very much for your notation. Attention. Sorry. And these are the 4 papers I mentioned in the talk. These two papers are of my guide. And this is the paper in the third link here, from which I have taken all these results. And this second paper, in the second paper, sir, may I have a minute? I can.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. No.
In the second paper, I have classified something called weak phases for all highest weight modules and all Kac-Moody root systems. These are certain combinatorial analogs or discrete analogs of the classical phases of the convex cell of weights and convex cell of roots. And this is third application for these two generations. There is one more application in my first paper, and if anyone interested, they can have a look. Thanks. I end here.
Okay, thank you, Teja, for a nice talk. Any quick questions to the speaker? So the guide who was referred often is allowed. Does he have any questions for the student?
Yes, sir. Please ask me.
Wait, you're asking me to ask him questions, what?
No, I'm just joking with it. The guide who was mentioned many times.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so if yeah, I'm just waiting for others to ask questions. Okay, if not, then let's give an applause to the speaker and also the other speakers who have given the talk today. So thanks for attending lectures. So hope all of you had a good time. So tomorrow we'll begin at 9 o'clock with the talk by Tejas Kadilkar and again split into 2 sessions. So have a good evening and see you tomorrow.